everything felt silent. And I had a gut feeling, she's gone. She's not there anymore. But we had to, gather all the devices and all. And we went to all the rooms to figure out if we have left anything. Now, remember that doll I threw to that one particular corner? It was captured live on camera. When I entered, the doll was back in its original position. None of us went back to that room because they're all were around me because of how shit scared they were. Two psychics were facing the same thing, Savio, my guy, Pooja, both living kilometers apart, are facing the same thing. What? Everyone's electrical appliances are fluctuating at the same time. How can that be a coincidence? Okay, fluctuating voltage fluctuation. Fluctuating, okay, there could be some reason. Fluctuating at the same time, how is it possible? And that is when they both connected. And by now they have no idea things are happening. It is only after the day later Pooja texts Savio, what happened at my place. Pooja is like, Savio is like, what the fuck? Something has happened to my place. It was a get to know. But we make sure that nothing is following us.
This is the first out of a 2-part special with Sarbajeet Mohanty, who's considered to be one of the leaders when it comes to paranormal investigation as a subject, the occult as a subject, and ghosts as a subject in India. Talking to him was a revelation for me because, of course, this is a subject that fascinates me. It's always fascinated me since I was a child. Chances are, if you're watching this episode, if you're consuming it, it's a subject that's fascinated you as well. This particular episode was slightly more scientifically inclined because I was trying to understand exactly how paranormal investigators operate. Again, as with many TRS episodes of late, this one was a heavy 2-part special. We always highlight the power of meditation, prayer, and spiritualism when we're talking about such topics. Even in this episode, we spoke a lot about meditation and how it becomes a shield when it comes to the paranormal. I'll let you slip into it. I'll let you enjoy it. All I'll say is that also check out our meditation app, Level Supermind. We've built it over the last 2 years with the intention of getting many people to begin meditating, to get many people to further their meditation journeys. The first week is completely free of cost if you download it on the links given down below. For more episodes of TRS, make sure you follow us on Spotify. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. This is Sarbajeet Mohanty with a mind-bending 2-part special on The Ranveer Show. Sarbajeet Mohanty, welcome to The Ranveer Show, brother.
Thank you so much for inviting. Yeah. So looking forward to it.
So is the audience, honestly. I know exactly what we're going to get out of this episode.
Yes.
There's just a very strange vibe forming even right now. How are you, brother, firstly?
I'm good, yeah. Just manifesting things right now. So yeah, that's where I am.
What does that mean?
So I'll be very honest. There were certain things in my bucket list that I've been manifesting over the years. Being invited here was one of them. So I manifested it right now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Vice versa. I've seen your name on the calendar for a while.
Okay.
And I've been staring at it. Thinking that, yep, that's
finally it's here.
That's the episode.
Yeah.
Paranormal investigator.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even begin explaining that to someone?
It's very difficult though, considering the kind of how do I say, the perception we have to a subject like paranormal. So whenever we talk about, oh, I'm a paranormal investigator, the first thing they say is, oh, the Ghostbusters, that we have seen. I'm like, no, there's no similarity between that. But for the sake of a common guy trying to understand what we do, we just say, okay, yeah, that's what it is, But if I go on to actually explain what a paranormal investigator is, it's a whole different profession that is very new to India, very famous outside, but very new to India. And to actually go and explain, we investigate the claims of paranormal. If there is a place that is said to be haunted, a place that has things that a normal scientific logical explanation is not able to do that. That's where we step in. And, if there's an explanation, we try to figure it out. And basically, yeah, that's what we are. We are investigators. And that's what separates us from ghost hunters. So there's a different term. So people do get confused that paranormal investigators and ghost hunters are all same. They're not. By the name ghost hunters, they're trying to hunt something down. So hunt can also be, we can use it as a synonym that they're just trying to gain experience by going to haunted locations. We are not doing that.
They're trying to gain experience.
Like they just want to see an apparition. They just want to see something move. They're there for the thrill. That's it. There's nothing. There is no intention to figure out why is this happening.
Okay, so you go to the root of the problem.
Yes, that's why we investigate. So whenever we get a case, sir, my house is haunted, the first thing we'll do is start debunking it. You are experiencing things. Maybe your house is on an high EMF hotspot, electromagnetic field hotspot. Your house is on high geomagnetic hotspot. Your house has got some, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide leakage, because all those things can hallucinate you. Your house could be very close to an electrical transformer. EMF can just mess with the human mind. You could be going through what we call as EMF pollution, and you can hallucinate all of those things which you are thinking as paranormal. And there could be nothing paranormal at all. But only after debunking all those things, there is a certain category where our theories, our hypothesis also fails, is what we call as paranormal.
That's the argument that a lot of skeptics have.
Yeah.
That it's all the EMF disturbance.
Yeah.
That's how science explains it.
Yeah.
But I think your job begins where science ends.
Exactly. And it's very important. See, I'll be lying if I say that I do not believe what I have been taught as a kid in science. So I'm an engineer.
Oh.
At the end of the day, yeah. Bachelor's in technology, no doubt in
Same.
that.
That's why the connection.
Yeah.
When you go on.
So I have studied those things. I know those things. And whenever we are investigating, even as a team or as individual, we know that there are certain things that can actually happen. And also, you won't believe when I say that it's not just the EMF, but also the human mind. The human mind is capable of doing things no one has even a clue about it. And all of those things can look like paranormal, but if you find the right way, you can actually figure out if it is paranormal or not. But even the human mind is also limited to certain things. There are certain things that the human mind cannot do. There are certain things that the EMF won't be able to do. And that starts something like you're asking something to, let's say you're commanding, move that object, and the object is moving right in front of your eyes, not just with you, but let's say there are 30 people with you who are actually experiencing it. You cannot call that fake. You cannot call that EMF did it. You cannot call that you're hallucinating it. Not 30 people will be hallucinating at the same time. So that's where our job starts. Okay. So people are not hallucinating now. There's everything we have debunked. Now, what is causing all those things? Why is this environmental change that we're noticing right now? Why there's a drop of temperature? Why are you going through a headache even though you're completely fine? Why there's certain things that our body is sensing, our devices are sensing, but we are not able to explain it. So that's all paranormal is.
Everybody loves hearing horror stories.
Yeah.
And everyone loves talking about aliens.
Yeah.
But sometimes, for a lot of people, when the inner child dies, they start thinking that these things don't exist.
Correct. Very true. Very true. As a kid, we all are very fascinated with ghost stories. But the moment we're into this job and everything, even though during the lockdown period, there was a surge in the cases that we were receiving. Usually it used to be, let's say, twice in a month. But when the lockdown happened and everyone was, in the houses and everything, that twice went on to 10, 15 suddenly. And we all were like, what the hell is happening? Why? There's a surge in the COVID. Then some were like, probably because of the number of deaths that are happening because of the COVID and everything, the untimely deaths, which can lead to certain hauntings. Of course, we can come to that later. Probably that's the reason. But then I also noticed that it is not just in India, it's happening worldwide. So we have a network of paranormal investigators all over the world. And we keep on discussing things. There are forums and everything. And everyone is reporting the same thing, that there is an increase in cases. And as we are sitting in an office and we with my team, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why are we getting a sudden surge? There's something, like, so as considering where we come from and the kinds of things we have seen, the possibility of a portal opening up because of some sudden deaths can be like, it's not impossible, considering what we have been through. That's what I'm trying to mean. Like, I'm not looking forward ke acha ek portal open ho jaye. But in case, we are always open to certain things which have never happened, because if we are not open, then what are we learning? What will we create if we are not open to certain things?
Yeah.
There's so many things in world right now that we're enjoying because some scientist, some doctor, some engineer was open that this is possible.
Yeah. An absence of evidence is not an evidence of absence.
Exactly. And if, let's say 70, 80 years ago, or let's say 100 years ago, someone said that iPhones are not possible. How can something so phone can be so sophisticated, can do something like that and something like that? That's not possible. We would never have cell phones or something like that. So we're always open to those things. But when these cases they went up, we realized that what had happened, that all of these people who are reporting cases, of course, most of them were debunked because they had some scientific explanations, but majority of them were not debunked and were concluded to be paranormal. Why? Because the activities they were facing now, they used to face back then as well. But because they were so much into their day-to-day job and cooking and everything, that they ignored that something like that is also happening. They're sitting right here. There is a weird sound in the kitchen. Everyone's like, ignore, something would be happening. Kuch to hoga. But now when they're, in those four walls and they cannot move out and they hear the sound, they are going to figure out what made that sound. And they are saying there is no insect or no mouse or anything, but just some random noise that had never happened to them. Now they are freaking out. Okay, this is something weird. And that's how the cases went up, because now even the minor, the choda things, people were like, this has never happened. And we are like, this has been happening with you for quite a long time, because from the psychics that we have in our team, for example, my partner Pooja, she's such a great psychic, along with other people that we have in the team, that they can just figure out the history of the place in terms of paranormal just by looking at the photographs. And when we were calling for, because even we were not able to move out of the house, and we were asking for photographs just to help out the client as much as we could do. When they were sharing the photos, Pooja and everyone was like, dude, this spirit has been haunting your house for the last 30 years. Like, even before you shifted here, the spirit is here. You noticed it right now. So like you rightly said, that as we grow up, something dies, that curiosity dies, and we start of kind of ignoring it, is what actually makes me feel bad as well. Because, like, when you're killing one curiosity, you're also killing other curiosities simultaneously.
Yeah.
It is not just the curiosity of finding ghosts or the paranormal, but everything else, of course, considering you, leaving a degree and doing something that is totally unconventional, there's a kick to it. And that's why you're doing it. Same for us. I could have done some job like my father wanted me to, but I was like, this is where my kick is, of helping people, helping the souls. So yeah, very rightly what you said.
Okay. So many more questions, man.
Yeah, please.
Let's begin in a slightly heavier place. What I will say before that is, a beautiful quote I read once was, everyone believes in God, they just call it different names.
Very true. Yeah.
And a lot of times the skeptics don't even believe in God.
Yeah.
It's very common. You'll see this, that they don't believe in a sense of a higher power either. But for them, God is science.
Correct.
Moreover, God is science-based evidence.
Yeah.
I feel science is a tool in the human story, but it shouldn't dictate the human story. You should keep increasing it, you should keep furthering it, but not kill off your openness.
Yeah.
And honestly, at the core of this thought is the fact that you should let your experiences dictate and don't discount other people's experiences.
Very true.
I want to ask you about the scariest experience you've had in your whole career.
There's so many actually. So as a part of our job, we attend a lot of calls as requested by people. And I feel very blessed that the job I'm doing with my team, we get a chance to help a lot of people. A lot of people who have been, have been to a lot of different methods and ways, but have failed miserably or have been looted somewhere or the other, if that's the right word. And they have now come to us with all the hopes that, sir, ma'am, we have seen your videos, we read about you in the newspaper or something, and we really want you to figure out what is happening. So one such case we got in Odisha, Bhubaneswar. So this was a case coming from an old lady who must be in her 60s or 70s, and she was only accompanied by her grandchildren. No son, no daughter-in-law, no one. And she was, panicking very badly. Why? Because she's like, sir, it started with sir, it later turned into beta. But she was like, so there's few things that are happening. So they were living the ground floor, then there was an upper floor, and the upper floor has been lying abandoned for the last 30 years by the time we were investigating this case. And she's like, no, there's few things happening up there and few things happening around the house as well. The reason I'm calling you is because one of my grandchildren, he was seeing one of your videos, he got influenced by it, and he went up to the abandoned floor trying to copy what you are doing. So he took a camera, not a camera, he took some iPad or something, and he was recording it. And while you're recording, he started hearing some kind of like a child's giggle or something like that. And he got scared. Of course, he knew that things are happening, and he was trying to come back. But when he was trying to come back, he felt like something is following him. And when he stopped and turned back to see what is following him, he saw this dark mass, some 8-9 feet tall, just looking at him like caving him up. And the next moment he feels like it is pushing him, the grandchildren, and he falls down the stairs. He breaks his head as in he injures himself, and breaks the iPad. And now the entire family is panicked because one of them has been injured. As of now, the only experiences they had was इधर उधर ही कुछ आवाजें हो गई, and all those things were happening, but nothing like this. This is what we received on the call. This is like the first step. The second step is to go and do the interview, or a preliminary investigation, as we call it. And interview is very important because that's what we get. What are we trying to investigate? So when we met the lady, she's very fragile and everything. And she had grandchildren all from the age of, let's say, 10 years old to some 20 in their 20s, early 20s. And there were at least 5 or 6 of them. And when we entered the house, there's this particular vibe, like we were talking about the vibe thing. And considering for how many years we have been doing this, the moment we enter a place, we know the vibes. We know there's something wrong in this place or that place, and that's how we start off. And we entered, and there's this feel. But considering where I come from, my background is science. So even though I'm feeling thousands of things out there, I cannot put them on the surface because that will manipulate my team's readings and the readings that I have on the devices. So I have to be very straight and kind of discard every other thoughts and emotions I'm going through. Irrespective, I sat down and we were talking, and the lady starts a story that things are happening. And meanwhile, before I go to the story, I noticed that there are 4 photographs on the wall with garlands on them. And I just happened to ask, who are they? And she says, 2 of them are my son, the rest of them are their wives, daughter-in-law. And I'm like, oh, so all 4 of them passed away? She's like, yes. And then she goes on to add that I think it is a spirit that is haunting the house that killed them. And I'm like, why do you say that? So she said that all 4 of them died of uh, a death that is quite unexplainable. They have no idea how they died, as in they're all fine, and suddenly all 4 of them fell sick and died. That's it.
But what was the sickness?
They couldn't figure out. They were getting treated about it. And this is, I'm talking 2016. It's not like COVID or something like that. It's quite old considering a bit 2023.
As in they died in 2016, roughly.
No, they died in the year 2015 or 14. We got to investigate in 2016, but the activities have been happening way before that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So by then I was with a TV crew, and the TV crew are like, they're poor souls. They have no idea what we're dealing with. So they got like, what the hell is this? So I'm like, no, I'll figure out what she's trying to say. You don't worry about it. And I ask, what are the things that are happening? And she says that, every night, almost every night, we see that there's this lady who is wearing a red sari. So if I go on to explain how the house was, it was in the colony. And the house is right in front of the main road that leads to other houses of the colony. So what she says is that she sees a lady, not just her, the neighbors see, even the person who is living 3 buildings down also sees a lady wearing a red sari, walking on the road, entering their building, going to the terrace and jumping off. Everyone would see that. And there was she went on to explain that there was a time when they went on to check if there's actually a body or something, but they found nothing. And this thing keeps on happening, keeps on happening. Someone would come, the same lady, she would enter the house. Everyone would see her entering the house. Even the grandchildren would see an apparition entering the house, going to the terrace and jumping off. I'm like, okay, what else is happening? Then she goes on to explain. So things were about to get more weirder, and as the conversation continues, she then goes on to say that there are times when the window of her house would get hit by stones and pebbles, and 10, 15 at a time. And everyone would think that some guy is doing some mischief or criminal activity, whatever. And they would go on to check. No guy. But that's not the weird part. The weird part is there'd not be a single stone. But they would see the stone hitting the window. The window is cracked right now, but not a single stone out there. Second incident. Third incident. They say that when they go up, they feel this heaviness which they cannot explain, even though the house has been lying abandoned. Of course, there are some things to consider if a house has been lying abandoned and there are dust and everything. Of course, the atmospheric pressure is very high because there's no flow of energy happening. But the lady is like, okay, beta, I have been alive for the last 70 years. I have seen things, but I have not experienced the vibes that are happening up there. Then she goes on to say that the family that used to stay and who left, and after that it has been lying abandoned, they were having lunch. And one fine day, they just saw, not just experienced, saw that one of the plates was snatched by some unseen force. They saw it flying. That very night, they packed up. The next day, they left the house and they never returned. The lady was still in touch with them, but they never returned. And then the lady was like, also, beta, I am very concerned about my grandchildren. You can see they're very small and young. They have a life ahead. Of course, I can die. I do not have a problem in that. I have already lost my son, my daughter-in-law. I don't want to lose these kids. So you have to do something. And as paranormal investigators, our priorities are old people and cases which involve kids or infants or something like that.
Because these
They're
spirits
sensitive. And then it's like, it's like, how do I say? They do not have any other way to go around. They have already figured out, that.
Hasn't the ghosts don't have...
No. The client, like the old lady here, she has no other option. She's very worried. If we do not help her, there is no one to help her in a way.
Okay.
So that's why we have to prioritize them.
But why do you think the spirit didn't harm the grandmom but harmed her children?
Probably because this is my view, because the lady always maintained this thing after they left. The people who are living out there is no one is going to go up there. It is this grand kid who was very curious. He didn't say anything to her, and he just went and started recording, and that is when things happened.
Okay.
Until then, they were just experiencing things from a very third person point of view. Nothing happening with them. They're just like chill out and like, okay, it's happening.
Do you think the two sons who died and their wives would have gone up there at some point or something?
I never asked them, but now that you're asking, it could be a chance. But there is also a chance that the old lady, with due respect, is so done and frustrated with the activities happening, is now blaming their death to the spirits. Because see, like I said from the very beginning, my job is to debunk things, and considering we do not know their health histories, their mental histories, or any kind of history, we do have no idea. And also, we do not have any right to conclude that it is the spirits that is doing it. So never went on to investigate or ask more about it to her, considering it's still an open wound, and we really didn't want to do more digging and hurt her more. So we are like, let's do one thing, let's focus on the present. Right now your grandkids are the priority, are your concern. That's what we're going to deal with. Now I'm with my crew, like I said, and I went up. Pooja was not with me, she was in Bombay. And we went up, and as a part of our investigation, no matter wherever we are going, the first thing is a psychic reading after the prelim, and that's the part of the initial investigation that we did, the preliminary that we do. The part is to check out the house, as in figure out if there is any broken wall, there's broken ceiling, broken floor, or something like that, so that when we enter at night, or when there is no enough light, we should be aware that that place has a crack. We shouldn't be moving with all the weights and everything. So what I do is I go up with my crew, and the crew is taking all the B-rolls and shots for the episode that they're trying to create. And I click a photograph and I send it to Pooja. And I'm like, Pooja, I need readings right now because there are a lot of things that are happening. And you know how it happens, and this is the most fascinating part, the psychics are not shared any information about the place. They have no idea about the case I'm going to deal with. They have no idea what the place is, what is the case, how many people involved, what kind of building it is. It's an apartment, mansion, bungalow, whatever. No idea. They just shared a photograph. You receive the photograph, now give a reading. Because if I share the information, like I said, the human mind is so I mean, I can go on to say a lot of things about the human mind. It can actually manipulate the psychic readings as well. You know, who knows that the psychic is just playing around the words we are giving them. So none of the information is shared. And Pooja takes 5-10 minutes and she gives a call back. And the first thing is, Sarba, I think you should be ready for what's coming in. Let's take it like a warning. I'm like, why? You know? And she goes on to say that she's feeling very choky, and she feels like there was a lady who was there who was kind of abused, physically abused actually, and she was she according to Pooja, there is a rope around her neck and she's being dragged using that rope, and she is being dragged out of the house and is being dumped under a tree. There should be a tree, Sarbajeet. And I'm like, the client didn't mention of any tree. She's like, no, I'm very sure there is a tree. That is where everything is happening. You have to check that out, and you have to be ready for what's coming in, because this spirit, she's very agitated. She's very angry. She's very frustrated with what has happened to her and the amount of time she has spent stuck here. You have to be ready. So the first thing we have to do is, because Psyche is saying there has to be something, there's another experience. If you are fine, I'll share after this to confirm how the psychics and we all work. So I go down to the client and I'm like, is there a tree nearby? And the lady goes on to say, beta, wahin se to sab shuru hota hai. I'm like, you didn't mention that. My psychic is mentioning that. She's like, no, there is a tree. There's a tree where we saw the lady come out. That is the tree where it all begins. And we go out of the house. There's a huge tree just standing out there. And I send a photograph to Pooja again, asking, is it the tree? She's like, yes, this is where she is buried. And all of those bad things that she went through happened in that floor that you were there. So please be ready to what's coming in. And people do call me psychopath for it, because when I hear something like that from my psychic, that you have to be ready for what's coming in, I become like a small kid, because I'm all excited. I'm like, let's see what's happening now. Because see, at the end of the day, we are researchers and investigators who are trying to gather evidence of the paranormal. And if a situation like this is coming up, where the spirit is actually trying to show itself just to harm me some way or the other, and as a return we are capturing things not just from a content point of view, but just for the sake of research, imagine what all we can do. Also, because I know that nothing can harm me, considering what I do before going for an investigation,
Which is
meditation. So I so if you notice, I don't know if you notice, we have no tabiz or anything like that, that we wear. With all due respect to tabiz and everything, of course, we do not have, because one thing that we have is the belief in ourselves and the faith in the positivity that whatever is out there, call it God, masters, or whatever we are calling them, goddesses, ascended masters, they are all protecting us. That's the belief we go through, and that belief is very strong, very strong. That's how we deal with any negativity.
When I was starting this podcast, I felt
Yeah,
some kind of female higher energy.
yeah.
That's why I asked you if you pray to Mata.
Yeah, my parents do worship Durga Ma. They're ardent followers and worshippers. And there's a long history to that.
It was almost as if she wished me luck.
Okay. So she's
Take care of my son.
So see, this is the connect that we have, is also the belief that I have to these masters, And that's why when we go to a location, I know that I'm in control here. And that's why I have survived for the last 10 years. And I know I'm going to survive for the rest of the years too.
Or she's in control here.
Yes. And she is controlling the negativity and the positivity. And she knows that nothing negative should come to these people. So I'm all excited. Pooja is like, you have to be ready and everything. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, we were all set, and the crew had to attend to some other cases. So we were like, let's not wait for night. Also, there's a very common misconception that why do paranormal investigators always go out to investigate at night? You'll see all those memes and all floating, and there is no such reason out there. The only reason we go out at night is because the environment is very peaceful. There are less people, less vehicles, less crowd, less horns and pom-pom and everything. That's why we go in. Otherwise, we have investigated places at even 6 a.m. in the morning just to check out, to debunk this thing that why only at night. So it was around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And in Odisha or in the eastern part, the sun sets very fast as compared to here in Mumbai. So by 6:30, it's already dark. And we were like, take even the night visions cameras are on, the devices are on. I'm all set. Let's go in and get this done. So what we do is something that is called as paranormal lockdown, which is a very serious and dangerous thing. But I'm sure no one in India does that apart from me and my team. And where what we do is we kind of basically lock ourselves in the house, and the lock and the key is the lock is there. The key is with some crew member who's sitting outside. They're not with us, so we are all stuck. Whatever is happening, we have to deal with. So that's what we do. We also did the same with this case. We asked one of the crew guys, please do lock us and go and sit in the car and let us do our job. And we already have the psychic readings. We already have everything ready. And to go on to explain how the room is so that you can also understand, because there'll be certain things that I'll be explaining. So the moment you enter from the main door, there's a hallway. To your extreme right is the washroom. On your extreme right top corner will be the kitchen. Beside the kitchen will be one of the bedrooms, and again beside the room will be another bedroom. So two bedrooms, one hall, kitchen and bathroom. That was the structure. And we enter and it's all abandoned. Of course we saw and everything. And when we enter, so of course there's no light, there's no electricity by default. So we were like, okay, we will be using the night vision cameras and the torches that we have. And while we're entering, we just marked that there's a stone on one of the slabs that is out there. There's a huge stone, must be around a ton or something like that. They're just kept there, probably because it has fallen from somewhere. So the people who are living down there, because they also have to take care of the upper floor, probably they have called someone to pick that up or something like that. We assumed it. And we were like, okay, it's out there and it's safely kept, nothing like that. Cut to, we are just walking and we reach the first bedroom and I just turn. We see this teddy bear lying. And I call that the Annabelle of India, you know. And you'll see why the Annabelle of India. We enter and I find this doll lying around, and I'm with my device, a device that measures EMF, electromagnetic field. And we are trying to figure out if there is any base reading. So generally the EMF has 5 lights, the one of the devices that we use. And generally the first light is always on because that's like giving us a base reading. But there are certain places, certain houses, certain properties where the base reading goes on to 2 or 3. Now, how do we know it's not paranormal, but something very scientific is the lights will not fluctuate. They'll be like that because the flow of electricity is same. No, it's not changing. So 3 lights or 2 lights, the base reading will be there. But in this case, we already only had 1 light. So we were like, okay, there's no manipulation of any kind of electricity happening. And we move on. And I'm like, let's start this communication. So what we do is basically we try to establish a communication with whatever the entity is, whoever the entity is, because that's like the first stage of understanding them, talking. I have to ask them, who are you? Why are you here? How long have you been? Did you die of this? Did you die of that? Are you male, female? Whatever the questions are. So I just ask.
Did you all dig up the body at this point?
No. This is, Pooja said that this case happened at least 60 to 80 years back. And from back then only things have been happening. So of course we never tried. Of course no one is going to believe us apart from the client that has called us.
Yeah, okay.
For all the obvious reasons we have in the country. But we went on and we start up with a very basic question. Is there anyone with us who would like to communicate with us? Because we have been getting complaints that you're disturbing the peace of those who are living in the ground floor, and that you have also hurt one of their grandchildren. Is that true? First 5-10 minutes, usually nothing happens, it's like, and that's why it's a job that requires utmost patience. You have to sit for like 4 or 5 hours just to get one reply or two reply. That's how it works.
Why do you think that is?
Because the entities, for example, just before we started the podcast, you needed some energy. So you had something, right? Same way for the spirits as well. They need energy to manifest. They cannot be just like at a point and do something like that. Also, there is a lot of research to it. We have figured out that the EMF hotspots, or the, how do I say, the EMF, especially in Southern Asia, or especially this belt, is very low as compared to that in the Europe and in the USA. That's why the activities that happen in USA or Europe is very, very severe and aggressive as compared to those which happen in India, because they get a lot of energy, and EMF is that energy.
So you mean ghosts feed off, or spirits or demons feed off EMF?
Yeah, EMF is one of those things.
There's more.
There is more. They also can feed off the EMF that we are radiating. We have an aura. Aura is nothing but our magnetic field, the body's magnetic field. So that's why we go to certain places and we start feeling drained suddenly. Because some energy, it can be a human being as well, what we call as energy vampires, can be sucking out all the energies out of you. So you'll see that that person is very active, but you are like, dude, connection nahi ho raha. That is one of those sources. Another sources are batteries that we use in cameras. That's why when we go on to investigation, there will be 5 batteries which are supposed to run. Let's say each battery runs for 40 minutes, for example. And agar 5 ho gaye, to let's say, 200 minutes they will go. They will drain out in 60 minutes. All of them. So they take in the energy to manifest. And if they do not get that energy, they manifest in ways that is not complete. So let's say, this is a bit off topic, but let's say spirit's trying to manifest, but it is not getting enough energy. So what happens is only the head has manifested, or only the hand has manifested. So what we did in India is that we took that concept and we added blood to it, and हमने उसको आहट में दिखा दिया. We showed them in fear files that the entities which are moving without head, without hands, is basically entities which are not able to manifest themselves. Of course, it's very horrifying when we see with blood and everything, considering what we did back then. But this is actually the real reason, is that the entity is not able to manifest itself completely. It needs energy to manifest.
You're saying you can actually see something then without a head?
Yeah, you do. You can actually. But again, in India, it's super difficult, considering we know geographically it's impossible. That's why we use certain energies, certain devices to give them EMF, to help the spirits, take it and manifest. Sometimes we also offer our phones, drain the phone's battery and manifest.
But isn't it dangerous to give them energy?
Of course it is. But let's say when it comes to a case like this, where the old lady is looking for answer, looking for a closure, we have to put ourselves to that risk, because we need answers, and that's why it's important. And that's why the job is what it is.
And maybe through that communication with the spirit, you're also calming it down and giving it closure in order to leave.
Yes. That's the final part of the investigation, because at the end of the day, we are trying to help the souls of both the worlds.
Yeah.
The living and the dead, of course, because even though the entity right now, the case I'm talking about, is very frustrated and agitated, but there's a reason behind it. She is not agitated because she just wants to. She has gone through something that gives her the right to be frustrated out there. And of course, she has been through such a terrible, terrible act. She has been killed so brutally. No one deserves that. And she's just trying to make others feel what she went through. That's what spirits do. So when you are at a place and you suddenly start feeling emotional, like crying and all, it could be just an entity trying to make you feel that, I'm very sad. So it's just reflecting, and you are just absorbing it and you are doing it, And a very common example I keep on giving. So, that's what I do mainly, is I try to give real life examples to make people understand that it also happens to you. It's just that you are not terming it as paranormal. When we are with our best friends and all, and the best friend is very happy, we are automatically happy, even though we do not have a reason as such, personal reason. The only reason is my best friend is happy. But if the best friend is sad or depressed, you'll see automatically your energy is also going down. Your mood goes off. So we can just conclude that whatever energy they are radiating, we are also absorbing it. We are also getting affected by that energy. Same goes for the spirits. So when we are trying to communicate with them, at the end of the day, we are also trying to counsel them, trying to ease them, we understand what you're going through, and we are the only people who can understand. There will be no one else, because the rest of them will be only getting scared. This is also one of our methods of bringing them or making them comfortable to talk to us. So even the spirits are also scared of human beings. So we have to make them friendly. You don't have to worry. So the way I investigate is very desi, if I say. I go on to talk in ways which I'll do with you or with one of my friends or something like that. If I may, अरे क्या यार इतना दूर से आए हैं हम लोग, अब बात नहीं करोगे तो क्या फायदा हुआ.
Friendly manner.
Friendly manner. Because understand, they are stuck there for 70-80 years. They have to understand you are friendly and you're not some guy who's again trying to hurt them. So for here also we did the same thing. It was very calm and everything. But because we have been doing this for so many years now, our senses are always they're always active. So we notice small things, very minor things, and there we are always noticing. It can be that there is like you are playing with your fingers, or that something like that.
Okay, go on.
So we always notice things, that, and it's like mini Sherlocks, we are now. But so I noticed that one of my crew guys, I just hope they're all fine outside. So one of my crew guys, he was coughing, and initially I thought probably because there's a lot of dust out there and he's, sensitive. That's why he's, some people get infected very fast to dust and all. That's what he's doing. And I kept on ignoring. And I'm trying to establish a communication. There's no reply. And then I'm coming to a point where the teddy bear was there. And I sit down and I'm like, is this yours? Not asking the crew, I'm talking to the spells directly. So it looks very funny that I'm just talking to a wall, but that's how it goes. So I'm like, is this yours? And the moment I asked this question, for the last 15 minutes, nothing was happening. And suddenly we get a reply on the device. The moment I ask, is this yours? There's a reply. I'm like, oh, this is yours. So
there's a beep on the device?
No, there are lights actually. There are multiple devices we use. As of now, we are using a device that will just show lights.
Okay.
So I have to keep it like this so that I can see from my peripheral that, okay, it blinked. It just blinks. And so that happened. And I'm like, oh, so this is yours. And again, it blinks. And by now, I am at the point where I'm like, I have to do something to establish the communication, because it's not going anywhere. It's been 45 minutes now. The last 15 minutes only I'm getting these two responses. So I have to do something. And I said, that if you do not come to talk to me or communicate with me, I'm going to take this doll back home with me. This is mine from now on. By this time, my crew guy is on the ground coughing and saying that I'm feeling choky here. Exactly what Pooja shared. I never shared the psychic reading with them because I know they'll get scared. The psychic reading only I knew, and I was going to use it for my investigation. He's like, I'm feeling very choky here. So now when it comes to the crew, of course, like I said, those are poor guys. They have no idea what we are dealing with. Unka kaam hai, they have to just record, shoot, audio clear hai, ye clear hai, and they're done with the job. So when he got affected so badly, I am like, no, this is going somewhere that there's no intention to. So I have to kind of step up, not only from the point of how I'm trying to communicate, but also from the energy point of view. Like, you give this energy boost to yourself to make yourself look bigger and more powerful. That's what I did. I'm like, you have no freaking right to affect my crew member like you did right now. You want to do something you want to affect someone, trying to harm someone, do it with me. So I'm holding that doll and I throw the doll just to disrespect the spirit, which is totally not recommended. But I had to do something to move his attention towards me, because I got the idea that I'm all protected. I'm all meditative and everything, but these people do not meditate. They do not have that thing to protect themselves. So it's targeting them. And I'm like, you want to do something, do it with me. And on camera, I'm throwing the doll to a particular corner and I'm like, karo, jo karna hai. So it may look like my ego is hurt, but all I'm trying to do is just provoke it. So what we call is, we are trying to trigger it. That's the term.
What is the relationship of the spirit with the doll?
It's just attached, or probably it was its doll. Or so how it happens is, for example, is why I also mentioned about the Annabelle of India, or Annabelle for that matter, or other objects that are very popularly said to be haunted, is because there are certain kind of energies attached to them. Now that object may not necessarily be theirs, but they're just affected by it. They just have this affection towards the object, and if they like it, they will stay around it. You do what anything with them, and it's like, for example, your mobile phone, your cell phone, it's yours, right? So if someone random comes in and plays with it, you'll be not happy about it. You'll be like, this is mine.
What if you send it to another country? Will the spirit follow the object?
Yes, it will. It will. There is no dimension, there is no time, there is no space in the spiritual world. That's what we have got to know. Because there have been times where we have investigated two different places in two different longitude latitudes of the country, and the spirits, let's say we investigated this house in Bhubaneswar, then we are going to Rajasthan to investigate one place. That spirit, even before we have entered, knows who we are. And right now we know that they have this spirit community, where they also talk about things. So right now we are talking about them, they know that we are talking about them.
Yeah. Goosebumps and just a little shit in my pants. No, I'm kidding. Go on.
So we left it all as it is, and we entered another room, and we are discussing what should we do more, because by now what is happening is there are sounds happening on the terrace, and it completely feels like someone is running, thumpings and all those things and happening, and we know it's happening, but for some reason we are apprehensive of, should we go and check, or do we just know that it is a spirit doing, because by now I have already triggered it. But I'm like, no, we have to cross check here. How can we just let it to the spirit directly? So I asked one of my crew guys, go and check, if there is some children, some kid going and running. There could be someone randomly, who knows. And the crew guy goes up, and he is standing in front of the terrace, and he says that, sir, I'm seeing the terrace, I'm hearing the sound, but there's no one in front of me. I'm like, okay, you can go down now. It's confirmed with the spirit. So I say to the spirit, what are you doing up? Come down now. We'll have a chat and we'll talk about you. I know what you have been through. Pooja told me about you. Let's have a talk. Let's have a conversation. That's how we can understand each other, and maybe I can help you out. Let's do this. Again, nothing is happening. So I asked those things are happening, the constant thumping and all. So we asked the camera guy, just go and see, if you can take some shots and all, by the time I understand what is my next step. So this guy is standing right in front of the kitchen, like I mentioned, as you enter, and he's taking some shot. Now that guy is, he's right now 39. So back then he must be around what, mid 30s or early 30s. And he's taking some shots. Within 5 minutes, he starts shouting, "Mummy, mummy." Now, when a 35 years old guy starts shouting, "Mummy, mummy," there's something wrong. So we go on, and I'll not lie, I've been to a lot of cases, I've investigated a lot of cases, seen things which people haven't seen. And for the first time, I saw something and I kind of freaked out. Like for 2 seconds, I'm like, what the hell is this? I saw that guy's leg is bent in and is like being pulled, like someone is pulling him. And he's trying very hard, trying to hold the frame of the door, not trying to be pulled in. And he's like, Sarbajeet, there's someone pulling me. I'm like, Faltu. And I'm seeing that, but my first reaction is, that's Faltu. You're overreacting, or something stuck. Some wire, some invisible wire, some pipe is there, because a kitchen, there could be anything. That's wrong. So other crew member pull him out, and he's like, Sarbajeet, there was someone pulling me inside. I'm like, that's impossible. Don't try to scare everyone else right here. We're trying to get a good episode, trying to help out the family. Let's focus on that. My instant reaction is, I'll never believe instantly unless I investigate on it. And I'm like, there's some wire and all. So I go on to see there's not a single wire, single pipeline or anything like that that could, let his leg bent like that and make us feel or make us see like something is pulling that leg, very particular leg. And when I saw there's nothing, and I'm like, if the spirit is manifesting so intensely, there should be something on your leg, because I saw it bent. Other crew members saw it bent. You know it was bent. Let's lift your pants. And we lift his pants. There are 5 complete fingerprints on his leg, like it is burnt. 5 dark fingerprints on his leg. And by the time the crew is messed up, apart from me, because I'm very excited because what just happened, but I can also understand where they come from. And they were like, I think we should quit the show and we should leave. I'm like, are you guys crazy? We're trying to help a person. I do not care so much about the show than what I care about the client. I have to help out the client. So we all are staying. No one is going anywhere. As all of these things are happening, there's again a loud thud. Now, remember that there is not a single light source apart from the torches that we have, which are also not very powerful because they can fall on the lens and create something which can be called paranormal. So we do not use. There's a loud noise of something falling. And it felt somewhere very close. And I'm like, what is this noise? And I was like, yeah, what is that noise? What is that noise? And they tried to figure out, remember that big block of rock that was kept? It's now on the floor. There's no way someone could touch it or push it because we all are engaged in this thing. And there were only 4 people. Me, the 1 camera guy, 2 camera guy, 1 sound guy. That's it. No one else. And we are locked in. Now, there was something that was trying to make its presence felt so bad that it is now affecting the crew. I'm like, no, this is going somewhere else that I do not want. Let's do one thing. Let's go to that one room and sit and just observe what is happening, because by now, the entire room feels like a tornado. There are things happening everywhere. Cupboards are opening on their own. There are sounds happening up there. Whereas through the doll, apart from that room, every other room is happening something or the other. And everyone is freaked out because something very dangerous just happened to one of the crew guys. I'm like, let's do one thing. Let's shut off all the lights, all the cameras. Let's just keep one night vision camera away from us, all the devices. Let's shut them down, sit in one corner, and respectfully, let's try to interact with the spirit. Because see, I may be all triggering and all, whatever I'm trying to be, my crew cannot go through that. And I have to understand that. Otherwise, what kind of leader I am in that team? So I'm like, we will not trigger more, but we'll sit down and we'll try to bring in the spirit to talk to us. We have to contact. And as we're talking, we start the communication with just one device that is close to the night vision camera. We are not holding them anymore. And I start asking the question, are you here because you have been stuck here for the last 50, 60 years as shared by my psychic? Are you the same lady? Yes. I got a reply. So basically I can give them command that if it is yes, you can give me 2 lights. If it is no, you can give me 3 or 4. And I can also interchange just to make sure that it is not coming from some electrical source. So I'm getting responses, and I asked that, I know whatever happened to you is very bad, but you also have to understand that these people who are staying on the ground floor, they have no hands in whatever you want. So you understand that? It said yes. But still you want to stay here? It said no. But if no, then are you stuck here? She says yes. Do you want to leave? Yes. Now, by all these things are happening, if I go on to explain how we were sitting, I'm sitting right in front of the door. Behind me is one of the camera guy जिसके पैर में हुआ. उनके बाजू में is the sound guy, and behind him is another camera guy sitting next to a cupboard. And as we're communicating, there's a noise coming from the cupboard, and I'm like, where is this noise again coming from? And we open, there is nothing inside the cupboard. Then we close it, and again we continue with the communication. Communication is going on, and by now the night vision thing has captured this guy who is sitting next to the cupboard, which is now, partially open because of what we did. He is reacting to something like this. Sorry. And I have no idea what is happening because I'm constantly in the mood of communication, everything, and the communication has been established. I know that the entity is now ready to leave. It's ready to understand that it has to leave the physical world to go to the spiritual world, and it has to be done some way or the other. Now, there are various ways of helping them out. I'll just say what is that. But before I go on to that, the man who reacted seeing something, we have no idea because we are sitting all samne. And when we, and I know I'm being a bit haphazard right now because you need that context to understand,
Sure.
is when we go to the editing table and the editors are seeing, and they are like, what are you reacting to that guy? And he's like, no, I felt like someone came out of the cupboard, some apparition. And we were like, what bullshit? We felt nothing. We saw nothing. Everything was happening right in front of us. Then when we are going frame by frame, quite literally frame by frame, we see this white color, disembodied thing coming out of the cupboard. And in 3 frames, it's invisible. And that is what this man sees. We have no idea,
Do you still have the footage?
It's with the TV crew guys, but they did play it on live while the episode aired, and people did saw. And there's no way to debunk it. Because many would say that it is a reflection coming from outside, but we have to understand that what the camera we are using is a night vision camera. In night vision cameras, the sensors are not similar to that of the normal DSLRs or normal video cameras, because there's one particular light the night vision camera is using, and that is called the infrared LEDs to see things which are visible in dark. No reflection, nothing like that. And of course, I will notice if there's a reflection. There's nothing like that. Now, cut back to the communication part. And I was in the expectation that considering the things that were happening and everything, I'll have to be very, very, powerful and vigilant and persuasive to make that spirit go. But the only thing that worked to help the spirit, I just made her realize that she's dead. I just asked her, "Do you know you are dead? You do not belong to this place." Now, generally, this question will trigger a variety of response. Sometimes the spirit will be very happy. You're like, "Okay, I'm dead. I'm free. I can move on now." Sometimes the spirit will be like, "How can you say that? I'm dead." It's like, if you call a living person you're dead, the reaction will get because they do not know they are dead. When I just happened to ask this question, and I asked the crew guy, just be ready because this is the final dent that you might face something. शायद कुछ भी ना हो, but ये कुछ हो सकता है. जब मैंने बोला, when I said that, do you know you're dead and that you do not belong to this place, suddenly everything felt, silent, dead silent. No response on the devices. The thumping all stopped. Everything felt silent. There's nothing apart from the breathing noises coming from my crew. Everything felt silent. And I had a gut feeling, she's gone. She's not there anymore. But we had to, gather all the devices and all. And we went to all the rooms to figure out if we have left anything. Now, remember that doll I threw to that one particular corner? It was captured live on camera. When I entered, the doll was back in its original position. None of us went back to that room because they're all were around me because of how shit scared they were. The doll was back to its original position. And the doll was the reason everything began for me in my communication. And that is where it ended. Because we didn't touch it. We didn't carry it with us. Because back then we were not collecting things. Now we do. But yeah. And then few weeks later, we kind of, call back to the client to figure out if things are still happening. And, if more things are needed or not. And she was very happy that there's no noises, no ladies being seen, and a new tenant is ready to move in, which the place which has been lying abandoned for 30 years, someone is trying to move in now.
What happened to the doll?
I have no idea. I asked the old lady, do you know who's the doll? If it is one of your grandkids. She's like, no, none of my grandkids. They're all boys. They don't play with teddy bears. She also happened to call the previous tenants and they were like, no, we had no small kid. So we do not know who the doll is. But I have even no idea where the doll went. But considering we kind of helped the spirit or the lady, I don't think the doll was possessed anymore. So it's like any other non-living thing. And also to add more to the fact that, an EMF is being radiated from a doll that has no batteries, no wire, just that cotton thingy, synthetic cotton, was weird even for me. I'm like, how is this possible? There's nothing physics is explaining right now with this doll.
But why did you feel like this was the scariest case? Because of just all this physical interaction that also happened?
A scariest case is because for the first time in my life, I saw an inanimate object being possessed in a way. There's an attachment to it. And also that spirits could, of course, we have done our research and we know to what extent spirits can go. But to see it happen right in front of you is a different experience, like the chat we had when you are standing out in that haunted location and you are like the bridge between the living and the dead. You're experiencing two dimensions, two frequencies simultaneously. And when I saw that, it was more than scariest. It was, I think, it was very exciting moment, exciting in a way that it becomes very spooky and all, if I'm making any sense.
No, fair. One opportunity I found while talking to you is that you have so many tangents you go on, which is an outcome of a lot of experience, dude.
Yeah.
Like this is something you think about a lot also.
We have to, Ranveer, why? Because at the end of the day, if I just go on to say to that old lady, you know what, there's nothing haunting your house, it's all fine, I'm putting her life in danger. Also, if there is nothing and I still go on and say that you do not have to worry, it's all fine, I'm again putting her life in danger because she will go on to find other ways that may harm her in some other ways. So I from and also my team, we are very, very careful in using the word haunted, because considering the effect it has on people in India, it can actually damage a person some way or the other.
Why?
if I just happen to say right now, let's say hypothetical situation that Ranveer, this place is haunted. So either you'll ask me or you'll ask some of your friends to figure it out, and because I've already planted that thought in you, you'll do everything to make sure it is not haunted. And even though it's not haunted, but that's how the human mind is. You're going to spend lakhs and lakhs on things to put things, get things done. And at the end of the day, there is nothing.
Do you feel you carry these energies with you after cases?
No, we don't. Because we kind of make sure, and that's where our meditation, our practice comes in. And our experiences also comes in by that time. We do carry those emotions with us because sometimes some places we have been through, the case is very emotional because of what the spirit went through. For example, this one, the poor soul who died so brutally and everything. Those emotions we do carry, those memories, but never a spirit because or an entity or their energy because of the meditation practice that we have. And that's why it's very important for what we do.
But have you felt it coming home with you and then the meditation washes it off?
Not yet, but what has happened is even before we have been to a place, those spirits, like I said, they already know that we are talking about them. Some places, even before we have been there to investigate, those spirits do come to our place.
Really?
Yeah. And it has happened multiple times. So we have 4 cats. Pooja and I, we have 4 cats. One of them, Coco, he's super sensitive to spirits and he will know if there's a spirit around. Animals are anyway very sensitive. And there was one time they were about to investigate this one property, and the property had all the things and everything. The psychics had all the readings ready and they were about to go to investigate that place 2 weeks later. 2 psychics were facing the same thing. Savio, my guy, Pooja, both living kilometers apart, are facing the same thing. What? Everyone's electrical appliances are fluctuating at the same time. How can that be a coincidence? Okay, it's fluctuating voltage fluctuation. Fluctuating, okay, there could be some reason. Fluctuating at the same time, how is it possible? And that is when they both connected. And by now they have no idea things are happening. It is only after the day later Pooja texts Savio, what happened at my place. Pooja is like, Savio is like, what the fuck? Something has happened to my place. It was a get to know. But we make sure that nothing is following us, because if that's the case, there would be someone here right now with us. But no, we
Wow.
make sure.
Do you want to talk about the kind of meditation you do? Do you pray? Like, do you?
So yeah, sure. I've never talked about it actually, but what we do is more like breathing meditations. That's the most basic one that I do. And then beyond that, what I do is kind of, I don't know if you know, and there as of now there are so many modules of meditation. So what we have designed, like me personally, is what I call that white light meditation and golden light meditation, considering we know how powerful those spectrum of lights are, white, golden, violet.
This is visualization based,
Yes,
where you
visualization
basically
meditation.
visualize that your body is filling up
Yes.
white light, golden light, or any other colored light,
Yeah,
as if a glass is being filled up with water.
correct.
You take the light in through the top of your
Yeah,
head.
from the crown to the Earth Star chakra. That's the 8th chakra that we have, Nietzsche. And we kind of cleanse ourselves too, because as human being, we also have our ups and downs. And if we are down, no matter what is the cause, it could be any cause, a family thing or something like that, we cannot investigate a place. We cannot go and investigate a place if energetically we are down. So we make sure that we are not. So I don't drink, I don't smoke. Pooja doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, because we are very sure that anything that is bringing down your consciousness is making you vulnerable to get affected by not just human beings, but also spirits. So we make sure no drinking, no smoking, or whoever does it in our team, we make sure 2 days before investigation, you're not drinking, you're not smoking.
Keep your body clean.
Yes, clean, and just meditate. That's what you do.
Wow. And you've seen this happen where someone who's a drinker or a
Oh,
smoker.
yeah. It happened in Mathiran. One of our guys, he is not with us right now. He has some personal work to carry out right now.
Oh, thank God. I thought.
No, he's getting married and all.
Okay.
So we went to Mathiran to investigate this church. You've been to Mathiran, right?
Yeah.
Have you felt anything different when you enter Mathiran?
It was very long ago, but I definitely felt a sense of isolation, that this place is isolated, not just because it's that far up and you have to take those horses and go, but there's just some deeper layer of isolation there. Like maybe it's spiritually isolated or something, dude. I don't know what it is.
It's very true, because the moment we went for the first time to Mathiran, we entered and we're like, we came somewhere This is something else. The vibes are also different. I think when you go now, whenever you go, I think you feel it more strongly.
Yeah, I was a kid that time.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. And it's also
Yeah.
some of the most beautiful forest pathways I've seen
Yes.
anywhere in India. That's all I
Yeah,
remember. That
yeah.
beautiful forest,
Yeah.
but deep level of isolation. I felt like I was just with my friends
Correct.
and very cut away from family, very
Yeah.
cut away from society.
It's very different. Very, very the vibes are very different, yeah, from Mathiran. I think it's one of our favorite places. But just to give you a brief of what happened to one of our ex-crew guys, he was with us and we were investigating this church. And Pooja and Savio found something in one of the spot, and they were digging quite literally because they felt there's something underground that they have to figure out. And I'm like, what are you going to get? It's like, it's been so many years. So I'm being that skeptic, I'm like, I'm a guy who will be skeptic in the beginning, but when I start seeing things, start proving things, so I'm always open like that. But in the first reaction, I'll be like, what will you get there? There's no point, because it's been so many years that church has been lying abandoned, like for 400 years now. And they both are like, no, there was a murder that was committed here and something like that. And the one of our guys, he was recording. And when they were digging, I could, like I said, I'm noticing everything that is happening right now. I noticed that this guy is doing something like, he's like very, very discomfort. And I'm asking, Shiva, you're all fine? Because of course, when you go to Matharan to sit those rickshaws or horse, and not everyone has that experience to sit on those things, so it can act on your body, show on your body. And I'm like, are you fine? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, okay. And then, so as I'm asking, they're stopping their digging wala part, and they are listening to him what he's saying. And I'm like, yeah, you guys please continue. Then they again started digging, and again I'm seeing he's reacting to something. And I'm like, are you sure I'm fine? He's like, I think I'm tired. That's what it is.
Like he was moving.
He's moving his
Okay.
shoulders and all, like his back is aching or something like that. So the third time they went on to dig, he is like shouting now in pain. And he's like, Sarba, yaar, I cannot handle this pain. It's aching right now. I'm like, what the hell happened? You're all fine like 2 minutes back. No, something is happening right now. So that is when, like I said, people do call me, my team calls me psychopath because of my methods, because I always take that next step to get the answers. I kind of figured out that it's something to do with the digging. So I asked Pooja and Savio, continue digging. They start digging. He starts reacting again more. I'm like, stop. And he's fine. And I dig again, and he's again reacting. So I'm like, there's something that is doing something to you. And he's like, Sabba, I'm feeling this burning sensation here. So he was wearing this hoodie which has no chain. I have like completely removed the hoodie to figure out. So somewhere or the other, we had to lift, and we saw this scratch mark on his back. That is what he was reacting to. And he has been holding the camera all this while. There's no way he can put his hand and do that. So that happened, and I'm like, what did happen to you? Because I've been triggering. These both are digging, and we know the place, the history, and the psychic readings, right? Affected you. I just happened. Did you smoke now? And like, how did you know? I'm like, dude, the spirit told me right now with your body's reaction. And like, yeah, I did, because I was feeling very tired and all. So I had to do that to get that boost of energy. I'm like, you saw it. And the same guy got affected when we went to Roha Fort in Kutch. Same thing. He got affected.
The weakest aura gets affected.
It does. It always does. And I'm glad he's working on that now. But he got pulled by a spirit in the Roha Fort in Kutch. And after 5 minutes, I happened to be with him, and I asked, were you smoking right before coming for an investigation? He's like, yeah. How did you know? How the spirits told me. So we have seen that happening, yes.
What's the worst harm you've seen a spirit do on a human?
I have seen my personal experience.
Yours, or if you've seen it in someone else, crewmate.
Okay. So the damages can vary from point of views, in a way, as in there can be physical damages, or there could be damages in terms of relationship or financial things.
Really?
Yeah, because see, you have to understand, at the end of the day, their energies were radiating some kind of aura, right? Some kind of.
That explains my last breakup. No, but go on.
So there has to be. Of course, it's not always the thing. Right now, I just hope anyone who's listening shouldn't be blaming the spirits for their financial downfall or something like that.
For the breakup.
For that breakup.
I still blame her. I told you shouldn't have done that Kala No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, so what you just bought in, actually those things do happen. We have seen that. We have seen people getting destroyed because of that very thing. No one would like to see their financial kingdom all going to dust and everything. That is one way. Another way what we have seen is these physical harms that they do. But one thing I'd like to make it very, very clear, there is no death involved. It can be, people, not many will be taking this with a very open mind. And the reason I say this is because the only reason that kills when it comes to paranormal activity is not the spirit, it is the fear that kills us. And it's the case for everywhere. It's the fear that triggers that response, and we take certain steps that kills us. I'll give one small example where we're investigating this case somewhere in Kolkata, I think. And I'll just keep it very brief. Why? Because there's nothing much to it. We got a call from one of our family friends that something is happening. And we got the psychics and photos we got from them. And we were like, if you psychics, please give us a reading and let us know what we can do. The psychics gave a reading that, so why the family friend called? Because from the 4th floor of their building, not an apartment, they owned the entire property. A man fell down and he cracked his skull and he died right on the road. And that's why they're worried that his spirit might be haunting or something like that. And we got the photos and everything. So the psychics, they saw that there is a spirit which was just trying to come close to the man. The man was drunk and he got scared of the spirit approaching him and he started taking steps back. He toppled and he fell and he died.
Do you think when you're drunk or stoned, you can actually see spirits?
It's a funny question, because how do we conclude that what they are seeing is not an effect of what they have put in their system?
Yeah, okay.
There's no way to conclude that.
I'm from a part of Bombay called Vadala, where we have a bunch of gardens. And one of those gardens is called Bhoot Garden.
Okay.
And the lore, the urban legend was that only when you smoke weed, and if you go there, you can see the ghost. So
the ghost.
I don't know how true that is. But this is the first time hearing weed and alcohol linked to this.
I know. But then that's what it is, we like I said, there's no way to conclude.
Okay.
Tomorrow you might wake up and you must be thinking like the guy who was high or something like that. Did I really say something? There's no way to conclude. So that's why, and some way or the other, it can also trigger a response that where they're seeing, because they're exposing themselves to those energies. There's no protective shield. Your own aura is gone for that particular period. And now everyone in the spiritual world can see you. Is where also leads a lot of cases where attachment happens.
Like a spirit gets attached to a person.
Yeah. It comes from a point where you are low on vibration or energy. It can be when you are depressed in your life or when you are down because of alcohol or something. My journey began when I was almost depressed when I was 15, 16, because of my fear of the unknown and paranormal. So when there's a saying that when you're depressed, you take a step back from the society. That's when the spiritual world sees you. Not the spiritual world, spiritual world, not the meditation world. Spirit's world sees you. And that's why we have a lot of people like my partner Pooja, my partner Savio, they all have had their episodes with phases of life where they have been hit really, really low. And that's where they have come up with becoming researchers and all. Because when you go down that path, the spirits see you and they're like, okay, he's a guy who is not in contact with others. Maybe he'll be in touch with us. That's where it also leads.
What is it like from their perspective when they're looking at human beings? If someone's aura is weak in the human world because of substance abuse or because of not being in the correct state of mind, when you become a low energy aura, that's when you become more visible to them. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
And then parallelly, if you meditate a lot, if you pray a lot, if you have very strong belief, faith,
then too,
you become visible to them.
Yes. So in both cases, there are two different ways they are seeing you. When you are meditating and you're doing all kinds of things to empower your soul, basically, you are in control of that situation when they are there. So when they will haunt you, they know who they're messing up with. So they'll not take that extra step to harm you because they know this guy is all shielded and protected by things we cannot see. But when it's the other side, they will try and deliberately contact and make things do happen so that the person sees, okay, shit, there's something. So there are two ways to see that. For example, considering I know that you meditate and everything, if you happen to go to a haunted place, the spirit will think twice before harming you. You might sense that it is trying to do something, but it will not do anything harmful. But if some other guy who is not meditating, could be in low state of whatever XYZ reason, he could still be experiencing things, but in a very aggressive way, and things and in a way जिसका control उसके पास नहीं है. In that way.
Okay. Like the power will be in the hands of the spirit then.
Yes. Ultimately, that is there. But that's what we teach when we take this workshop and everything, that you have to be in a place where you are in control. And not just in your life, but also in the spiritual world for that matter. Because if you're not in control, that is where the fear comes in. And of course, certain fear is required. That's your body's response to protect yourself from certain danger. But let not the fear control you. Same when it goes to substance abuse, or substance abuse is a very far-fetched thing.
Yeah. Substance usage.
Not just substance, but I'm coming to a point of smoking and drinking, particularly these two things. Let not those two things control you. Drink if you want to. Suppose there's a party and once in a month you are there with your friends, drink, it's fine. But don't be an alcoholic. Don't be a chain smoker or something like that, where something is controlling you. So, there's a saying that nothing can possess you if you're self-possessed. So if you're already self-possessed, like the people who meditate, they're already have so much energy. We're already self-possessed, dude. What else can possess us? But for someone who has that gap within themselves, which they're filling up by using substances or alcohol, there's already a gap. The spirits know that. The demons know that. And they'll try to fill in that gap.
So many more questions, Sarva bhai. This was just an introduction to paranormal investigation on the show. You're probably our most experienced guest in this domain.
Thank you.
And after every single paranormal episode we had done, your name would always come up.
Okay.
That just wait till Sarva bhai comes on the show.
Okay.
That was what was said to us. I'm glad that we're having this first conversation. Rather than going deeper on this one, I'm going to head into the next one.
Sure.
Just if this particular episode was too heavy for some listeners, and I feel like it may have been.
It may have been, yeah.
So thank you, brother. Looking forward to talking to you again.
Sure thing.
If you enjoyed this episode, trust me, this is where we just scratch the surface. In any podcast conversation, the nectar of the podcast comes out after the 1 hour mark. If a guest is willing to talk to me for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, if they have that much to say, and Sarbajeet Mohanty has that much to say. Even after the second episode, trust me, he has at least 5 episodes in him. That's the level of experience that he's gained over the course of his journey. He's got that many stories, that many anecdotes. He was one of the most enjoyable conversationalists that we've had on the show lately, because he's someone who's genuinely put himself in dangerous situations, in occult-oriented situations. He's going to be back on the show on both our English and the Hindi podcast. Watch out for our second episode. And as we highlighted in this particular episode as well, begin your positivization journey, begin your meditation journey now. Download Level Supermind. It will help enhance all aspects of your life. That's my promise to you. If you engage in daily meditation, you'll notice your mind and your reality drastically changing every single day. For more episodes like this, make sure you follow TRS on Spotify. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. Watch out for part 2 of this paranormal investigation special. It's coming out very soon.